Money Morning Live. It's time that we move on the show day, and we move it on to Nick Black with AICI in 5, 4, 3, 2.
I wonder if it will eventually be artificial intelligence crypto investing. And then
Could be.
I did an AI video yesterday, just a completely generated video. And it's like this woman talking blah, 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 blah. And there's no humans involved. This is like a background. It looks like it's like a news thing. Yeah. Ain't no humans involved. The days are numbered.
Don't need humans
Days are
anymore.
numbered, people. Hey, Eric, are you
What's up,
up between 50 and 144%?
Am I up between 50 and 144% on all of my assets overall?
Just in the last month, let's just say.
Yeah, I'm up pretty good. I don't know about 100%, but I'm definitely up pretty nicely. I'm happy with the markets right now, or at least with a few assets.
Do you know who's up between 50 and 144%?
Would that be your heavyweights?
That's right. Anybody who because of the recent, we did an AI promo where we're really pumping the artificial intelligence plays that we thought were the best plays. And if you knew nothing about anything, I mean nothing, and you just joined Digital Heavyweights in the last month, and you simply dummied your way into those 4 things, you're like, I don't know, ding, 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 ding. You bought all 4. You're up between 50 and 144%.
Man,
weird.
I wish I was a heavyweight.
Please tell me in the chat, those of you that are not involved in crypto because crypto's a scam, you're up between 50 and 144% in your entire portfolio, right? Everybody's up between 50 and 144% because you're killing it in equities, right? You don't have to answer. That was a rhetorical question. Anyway, good luck. Good luck, squiggly line traders. If you're saying yes and you're not in crypto, look in the mirror, point at that person. They're lying to you. All right. Eric, what do we have on the agenda? We have some interesting questions. And one of the questions, it does relate to FTX. And since it relates to FTX, I thought, wouldn't it be neat if we heard some current thoughts from the FTX founder? And they always say disgraced now. Disgraced. And yes, there is, real quick, a little news blurb would be, there is apparently some truth to the Amazon Avalanche partnership, but it doesn't mean much. It's probably mostly propaganda. The world is kind of going away from these centralized cloud systems. And so I don't think Avalanche, based on their past, is probably the team to do it. I worry that it's one of those partnerships that's like the way Chainlink used to have partnerships, where they would like sign up for AT&T service, and then they would put a press release, Chainlink has partnered with AT&T. And then Chainlink would pump, and they'd be like, wait a minute, you just got cell service, Sergey. And he's like, yeah. Like, that's not a partnership, bro. You're a customer. It's kind of a partnership. Man. Anyway, it doesn't change my mind about Avalanche because the team is terrible. Now, does that make Avalanche a trade? Maybe. But if you got in today, you missed the 22, 24% it did yesterday. So does it still make it a trade? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, AI's eating the world. Amazon already ate the world. I don't know. That's a tricky one. You're gambling. It's gambling time because you know the team's terrible. So just be careful. But anyway, long story short, so the FTX, this debacle continues. So Eric, why don't we do this? Why don't we real quick queue up the question, the FTX question, and then I want to share some background just so that we got to put this FTX thing to bed.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's start out here. We'll jump around a little bit. That's cool. Yeah. Wei Hey asks, who's pumping who's pumping the FTX token? I can't make any sense of it.
Well, let me tell you this, Wei Hey. One, you can't make any sense of it because there's no sense to be made from it. It's a dummy coin that was based on an exchange full of crooks and dummies. Crooks and dummies, because they weren't at first dummies. Well, let me say this. They weren't at first the dumbest people in the room. Then they slowly became dummies as the market passed them by and their market making activities became a losing proposition. They then started gambling into stupid dummy assets. That's when they became dummies, real dummies and gamblers. And then when they started losing on their gambling, that's when they became criminals, because then they started taking investor deposits. So for Alameda, which was the wholly owned subsidiary of Scam Bank Run Fraud Chicken and his buddy, it was like a 90-10 split. For that to survive, they had to take investor money from FTX, meaning steal, and hand it to the people at Alameda to continue to gamble, dummies. At that point, they were all crooks. Yeah, and also like a weird kind of creepy, everybody sleeping with everybody kind of a thing. That's a whole other weird thing. But the point is, at the point where they started taking investor funds illegally, then the whole thing is tainted and they are all illegal. What's funny is that Scam Bank Run Fraud Chicken, he's already admitted all of this. I'm not quite sure what goes on in his mind. He's looking at 360 months in prison. And so he's already said all of this stuff. And by the way, everyone has already snitched him down the river. Everyone. Caroline, who ran the Alameda gambling front, she's already snitched him. She was one of the first people to cooperate. You knew. We called her out on day one. We saw a picture of her with her stupid glasses, and we said, she is government witness numero uno. She will snitch instantly. And guess what she did? She did not walk to the prosecutors to cut a deal. She sprinted fast as she could go. And Bank Run, he had some kind of, so recently he's taken, here's why. So that FTX coin, I don't know why people would gamble on a bankrupt coin from a bunch of bankrupt crooks and scam, which almost all these people are going to jail. So Bank Run Fraud Chicken launched a Substack report in which he detailed his version of the accounts. His attorneys must be just vomiting. If you were his attorneys, you're the worst attorneys ever. You got to be like, dude, shut up, stop. You're going to prison for 1 trillion years. What are you doing? So it's like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, he was on a Twitter Spaces, and he wasn't paying attention to the questions because he was playing League of Legends while it was happening.
Great game.
This guy doesn't get it. It's a good game. But he claims now no funds were stolen. In his mind, he doesn't think taking investor assets equals stealing. Except that the way the law works is it's 100% stealing. SBF took to Twitter earlier on January 12th to argue that FTX could still recover. I don't know what color the sky is in his world. The former, now disgraced, CEO, who's currently confined to his parents' house, according to the terms of his bail, aligned the failure at FTX to somewhere between that of Voyager and Celsius. He is absolutely, well, first of all, Celsius was also a big scam. And that guy, by the way, they're going after Alex Mashinsky. He's being indicted also in the Southern District of New York. All these guys are going to jail, or they're just going to leave the country and be like, you can't catch me. He gave 3 reasons for the implosion, stating that Alameda had $100 billion in assets. Nope, it never had that. They printed up their own funny money token, the FTT token, and they constrained the supply and they moved it back and forth between each other, between FTX and Alameda, to show a big giant balance of all fake funny money. He said their balance sheet grew to $100 billion, $8 billion in leverage, and $7 billion of liquidity on hand. Lie. Alameda failed to this is his claim number 2, that the little trading arm failed to sufficiently hedge its market exposure. They don't even know what hedging is. I'm surprised he even spelled the word hedge correctly. He's like, I don't pay attention to those things. What? Over the course of 2022, a series of large broad market crashes came in stocks and crypto, leading to an 80% decrease in the market value of its assets. Yeah, an 80% decrease in the value of their funny money token that never had value. When they distill all of this, the original origin story of FTX was a complete and utter lie. The fact that they traded some kind of arbitrage opportunity between the kimchi premium, which was a premium on Bitcoin that lasted for a couple of months in South Korea. Like, we made billions. Nope, because billions didn't run through that market. It was a few hundred million. There were never billions to be made. So that was all a lie. His whole team, they're just a bunch of idiots that became crooks to cover their idiocy. That's it. It's that simple. So, and by the way, he's already said all this on Twitter. So what happens is pump groups will get the token and they will push out a bunch of stupid stuff on Twitter. FTX coming back. And dummies, the same people that buy Dogecoin, the same people that mostly gamble their life savings away or whatever they saved during 2021, they gamble that away in NFTs. Those same dummies will buy in because they see 4 tweets about FTX token. FTT was the token itself. Same bank run fraud chicken did not directly address the argument that Alameda should never have had access to customer funds because that's illegal. Yeah. Oh, and then he says this now that he's not there and about to go to prison because, someone else controls all of the funds at FTX. He goes, it's ridiculous that FTX US users haven't been made whole and gotten their funds back yet. Oh, is it ridiculous? Sam, you stole all their stuff, bro. Where are they going to get it? These guys, man. Oh my God. So they did the same thing with Celsius token. Celsius has a token. That thing was pumping up and down. It's just pump groups pulling scams. They did the same thing. They still do it with Luna. Luna is still traded up and down by a bunch of idiots and goofballs. Just be very careful because people want to take advantage of other people. That seems to be just the fact of humanity. And don't be on the receiving end of that stuff, please.
Hey, Nick.
Yep.
I got a cool question that came through the chat. And I figured maybe we could take it. It's from Just Learning. I know nothing about crypto, how to buy or take profits. Now, you mentioned a few minutes ago that your digital heavyweights, even if they knew nothing, they were up 50 to 100 and something %. So what do you have to say for people that are skeptical about crypto that are still here because maybe they were watching some of the other trading shows, or someone that doesn't know anything about it? What's some advice you would give to someone like that?
Well, let me answer that. And Ziggy has a question that I think is apropos. Why is crypto so corrupt? Will the feds regulate it? Well, before you point the finger at crypto is not so corrupt. So you have to be specific in your question. You got to have a precise question to get a precise answer. Why is crypto corrupt? That's like saying, why is the dollar corrupt? The question's a non sequitur. Why are there people scammy in the crypto space? It's a brand new asset class. There's a lot of money being thrown around, so people are going to go take advantage of other people. Why don't you ask your grandparents why their savings have been dusted, just debased to zero? Because the federal government, in many of the things that they do, can look very corrupt. People are just corrupt. People steal from other people. So what you're really asking is, why are people stealing from other people? Why does Jamie Dimon say that he hates Bitcoin, and on the same day, JP Morgan Chase traders get caught and later have to settle out of court for trading 10,000 Bitcoin within 5 minutes of Jamie Dimon saying he'll fire anyone that touches Bitcoin at JP Morgan. Within 5 minutes. They got sued. He settled. This is, humans are going to cheat other humans. So what you're really asking, Ziggy, is why are humans corrupt? Because humans suck. So we have to be smarter than average humans. We have to know when we're getting beat up on. We have to know when we're getting lied to, and when people are trying to cheat and steal from us. One of the things that we do in the heavyweights, it's not just about the crypto part. If there was some other asset class that was more valuable, I'd be trading it. I made good money in the gold space. I got rich off of crypto. I'm trying to go from rich to wealth. That's a big gap. In my mind, wealth is like 50 million. Everything up to 50 million, in my opinion, is rich. 50 over, you wealthy, bro. What do you guys think in the chat? What is your margin from rich to wealth? So one of the things that I do with the digital heavyweights is we focus a lot on trading mentality, all the cognitive biases, all the emotional handicaps that traders and investors that get in the way of good strategic thinking. And we think a lot about game theory so that we can be just a little bit smarter than the average person, because that's all you got to be. You got to be just a little bit smarter than the average person. And if you are, then over time, your decisions, many, many, many decisions are going to be a little bit better, and you're going to just melt up among your peers. And so kind of part of all of this is, if you know nothing, you need to find a place, and I'm not the only, digital heavyweight's not the only place, but it's one of the only places where you learn to think like a wealth manager. And instead of thinking of squiggly line, how can I put 3% in my pocket? You sit back and you look at the world 3 years, 5 years from now, and how's the world going to look? Will it be more digital, more decentralized, more artificially intelligent than it is now? And if you say yes, then you need a way to get there that makes sense and that won't just emotionally drain you. And if you are trading, that's a very finite. Some people can do it. Kenny's a beast, but everybody's not Kenny, right? Mark, options monster. Everybody's not Mark. Look at Tom. So you have to decide, where are you? Like, what is your mentality? Are you a trader, kind of a short-term trader, or are you more of a longer-term investor? And you want to be more of a fundamental kind of a game theorist, kind of a thinker. And if that's the case, then you need a framework for that. People that go to college for like 1 trillion years to learn this stuff. So you have to figure out where you are on that spectrum and then go to those sources and get that information so that that can become part of your wiring. Because if it's not, you're going to be reliant on people to tell you what to do. I get so many emails. Hey, should I buy this? Should I sell this? Erase, 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 erase. No, man, I ain't going to give you fish. You guys know how it goes. I will teach you to fish, but I'm not going to give you fish, although we did actually give you fish. We gave you like 4 fish in December for anybody that wanted fish. Eric, you already own those fish, don't you?
I own a bunch of fish. Yeah, Nick. I like the AI fish lately.
The AI fish doing great. Let's take a look at markets really quick, and then we'll get to the rest of the questions, just to show that things have been melting up. But even if things weren't, you would still be doing good, because the markets, at least in the digital asset space, and again, there are 40,000+ digital assets. Are all of them good? No. Are 90% of them good? No. Are 3% of them good? Maybe. maybe 1%. Right? There's probably 40 or 50 quality assets. Well, that's not counting some of the garbage. There's probably 40, 50,000. If you count NFTs, we can't count NFTs. Like, that's a whole other just trash bag. But I'm just saying, in this space, you can't ignore it though. The Bitcoin, 18K, it's popped up over the last few days, kind of good over the last week, about 7, but why? And everybody's like, why? What's the turnaround right now? People are finally owning up. At least the general public is coming around to the idea that, oh yeah, all the inflation stuff was bull. It's not inflation. It's unequivocally not and was not inflation, what we saw the last year and a half. And now some people are having to kind of like reword the past, like, well, when I said inflation, I meant, yeah, we know what you meant, dummy. You followed CNBC. You just parroted out what they said, and you were like, inflation's melting our toes. No. So now that the world is kind of realizing, oh crap, we're no better off than we were in 2019, and the world looks like it's going, or is already into the throes of a recession. What does that mean? Does that mean deflation? Does that, and there's all sorts of arguments on both sides. We're not going to get into the macro and micro of that, which we do in the digital heavyweights. But I will say this. You better make sure that your assumptions are correct. And let me just, Jim, when you say prices are up, how is it not inflation? If prices at the gas pump go up $4 in 1 week, is that inflation? Eric, what do you think?
No, I don't think that's inflation.
A handful of oil companies cooperate to corrupt the oil price. Is that inflation, or are those non-economic price effects? Inflation, listen, inflation, no, you can't, the price inflated, yes, J-Rod. Inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, meaning if you don't have the monetary inputs, it's not inflation. Yes, prices go up. Okay, and in week 2, when the prices go back down $2 a gallon, have we entered the throes of deep deflation 1 week later? So last week we had inflation because oil prices went up. And this week we have deflation because oil prices went down. Sarah has it correct. Inflation means money supply, more money. Now, was there inflationary effects of the government stipends that went out in 2021? Absolutely. Guess where that money went? Big banks, insurance companies, Amazon, and BlackRock. Go and look. And then a small percentage of it was punted into investment markets. And that's why you saw those weird behavior. But you have to be very careful that in your mind, that you frame in your mind correctly the landscape. Because if you're looking at a watch and you don't know how the gears work, you're going to get nuked in the long term. You can make some short-term decisions that are correctly, because you're guessing. But in the long term, you will get melted. Like all the Nazis at the end of Indiana Jones that like open the ark and it's like, bleh, and their face like spaghetti cheeses off. You'll get nuked. And so I would just be very careful. You don't have to get it from us, but you gotta get your foundation correct. And part of that is you need precision with your assumptions. You need to understand how the basic yield curve works and what it's telling you. You need to understand the maturities. You need to understand how repo works and reverse repo works, really. You need some understanding of Forex. You need some understanding of, I hate to say dig too deep into the bond market, but it is important because it has been the safest, cleanest, most obvious predictor of the future. And you need to realize that the Fed doesn't trade real money. And if you just do that and you never come to the crypto space, great. You will experience great success. If you do that and you look around honestly, how am I going to turn my current bag of money into a bigger bag of money and beat whatever inflationary effects there may be through debasement and lending and things like that, actual currency creation, then you're going to find the crypto space very alluring. And even if you hate crypto, some people do, they just don't like the space at all. I don't even like the word crypto. Digital assets I like. But even if you hate the entire space, I don't like it. It's bull. Bitcoin is still the most appreciating asset in human history. It's done better than anything you have ever chosen or anyone has told you has ever been an investment. It's done better than every investment you have ever made in your entire life, except probably in your relationships. That's different. But as far as financial, Bitcoin has beat it. Everything you've ever done or anyone that's told you to do has ever done. Because the only 3 people that could have told you about Bitcoin from the beginning, 2 are dead, and 1 we don't know who it is, right? So you have to pay attention to it. And on the other side of it, the whole world is going digital, bro. And on the other side of that, if you hate all of that, you say, screw Bitcoin, forget crypto, I don't like it. The world is getting gobbled and consumed by artificial intelligence and AI products. And if you don't see that coming, you are on the shelf and you need to wake up. Every other hour, there's something on CNBC. And when something's on CNBC, you get it, right? It's because they're trying to shovel it out to the masses. You think Microsoft just randomly took a $10 billion position in OpenAI a week ago? You think they're dumb? You think those guys are stupid? They may be a little behind the times, but not stupid. Man, world is changing. So you don't want to be left behind when it's right in front of you. So at least take 5 minutes and do a little reading. That being said, these markets are green, but they've been red for so long. I don't really pay attention to the close, anything up to the probably 90 day doesn't matter. But I do look at the 1 year for the assets that we consider quality. And I find myself looking at the AI and big data plays. You look at AI, Fetch, up 160% in the last 90 days, 126 in the 30 days. Yeah, lots of green. You made a lot of money. But it's nowhere near $1.20. So there's a lot of room to run. This is AI having to do with automotive. Ocean, distributed data, data marketplace, kind of cool. What's AI going to need? AI is going to need a lot of data. AI is going to be moving a lot of data and doing a lot of open transactions, a lot of big, fast, heavy, dense transactions. Singularity DAO, yes. AGIX, that's Dr. Ben Gortzel's company, yes. NewNet, distributed compute power, taking all those useless bits of tech that we have like lying around, and when they're not being used, those dormant assets, having them compute and then paying you to let your dormant assets do compute. You think that's not going to have a market? And I think you can buy Ocean, by the way, on Coinbase, Ocean protocol. Distributed data, Arweave, distributed data, Filecoin, where are you? Filecoin. You're starting to notice first people look at AI and then they start looking around and they say, oh, AI, wait, what would AI need? AI needs big data. So anyway, that's kind of where the market's at. Other things, I mean, everything's green. When Bitcoin's doing good, everything in the crypto space is doing good. This is more a CPI story. So anyway, there we go.
Nick.
Eric, we got time for another question. Pick the greatest question.
We're gonna rifle through a couple of them. How about this one to start? Would you still buy Fetch at 16 cents or now?
Yep.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
That's your answer.
Yep.
Very easy.
Yep.
Okay. How about this one? Does Fetch come back a bit or should we be opening a position now?
You should be dollar cost averaging into everything. Don't load into anything. Don't FOMO. Don't get excited. Just dollar cost average slowly and consistently into the assets that you like in the statistical balance. Statistics is not the right word. Into the balance, the proportionate balance in your portfolio that you like. Remember, everybody here, crypto or otherwise, you are your own portfolio manager. You need to look in the mirror and make sure the person looking back at you is competent and that you would hire that person. And if you're not an expert, go out and hire one.
Thank you, Nick. And I want to say, if people like what they saw right here today, if they like talking about this, I saw we had a lot of new people in the chat. You get this and more if you become a digital heavyweight, where you dive even deeper into Nick's brain.
Hey, and for those of you that don't want to join us in digital heavyweights, have fun being poor. Just kidding. That was actually like the battle cry of the Bitcoin community. Have fun being poor. I'm like, oh, no one's ever had fun being poor. Anyway, stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor, insolvent drunk, strung out on meth grandmother, or Eric, who's not Brandon, who's not Nancy Pelosi, who's not Ryan, who's not Meg, who's not Elizabeth, who's not Eric, wouldn't do. I bid you a fond pew pew.